Hey there, it's Kevin from Toronto, and I'm CTO and founder at Touchless. Previously founded Statflow, a compliant messaging solution for banking and telecom. And, it's funny, the last time I waved at something was one of these things. It was yesterday. It was just parking. And at Brookfield Place, between where you park and the elevators, these big heavy doors, and because of just the airflow in there, they're really difficult to open sometimes. Or maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I find them difficult. But you can just wave at the door and the door opens. And you often see a lot of people use it, right? Maybe they don't want to touch the surface. Maybe they're holding something. So it doesn't mean that you have to have a mobility issue to benefit from these sensors that were originally put in there for someone with a disability. But it turns out everyone can benefit from it. Now, a crazy idea is, what if you took this concept of making things frictionless and easy and doors opening, and you did this for the web? Because it needs the same thing. Why? We have accessibility buttons. We, are aware that people need to be able to use our stuff, and don't we do a reasonably good job at it? Well, accessibility affects more people than we think. There's a UN study that estimates over 1 billion people are affected by disabilities. Not just physical disabilities, but they could be mental, cognitive, learning, right? Different learning styles, different ways of communicating. Maybe folks that are nonverbal, or maybe people who can't pick up on cues. If you factor in the different people who move in from different areas or different regions into a new place, they are at a disability compared to others in their comprehension of how things work, right? And so it's overwhelming for them. So quite a number of people are affected. Now let's look at something closer to home, though. If you look at the US, a CDC estimate is that 1 in 4 Americans have a disability of some sort. And often the ones that are affected by a cognitive disability or a mental disability are younger people. And when they are dealing with these things, 3 in 4 of them are undiagnosed, or they don't receive treatment if they are diagnosed. This is actually a growing trend. During the pandemic, there was a study done also with CDC that 15% of young people were dealing with some major depressive disorder because of just being shut in and things changing around them. And that's just of the ones that answered the survey. It's probably much more than that. And that was double what the rate normally is. So what does this teach us? Well, disabilities affect more than we realize. And when somebody is in a depressed state or anxious state, it affects the way they think, right? It affects attention spans, affects their willingness to put up with frustration, which makes sense why we see so much in terms of bounce rates, or people who just can't be bothered with things. And it's likely because of the fact that they're affected by certain situations or dealing with something. Now that this is true, we know this is true, right? A lot of people are affected by disabilities. But what if technology could open doors for them? Especially for those who are undiagnosed, or maybe not receiving treatment, or just are generally frustrated with things and need something easy. What if technology could just open those doors for people? Especially when they're trying to do these major things in life, like open and operate a bank account, or buy and service a car, or access core utilities like telecom, etc. And we see people innovating in this space, but what if you could do it for more? So a solution we came up with is something called EXO. Because after doing a number of Gatsby projects, I ran into a number of things, right? Build errors, which library works with what. I get very excited about something cool, I'll put it in the Gatsby site, and all of a sudden I've added a whole bunch of bloat. I don't know if that's run into you. And as we've gone through all these, different scenarios of how to build solutions for different industries, the thought is, let's make something that anyone else can use too and open source it. So EXO is a Gatsby scalable enterprise grade theme. And it's going to be a work in progress, right, for the next 10 years. But hopefully, together we are able to make it in such a way that we all can benefit and move faster and build really enterprise grade things right away. It includes an API to sync data, mainly because I've found that majority of sites are just structured data. But getting things into that structured data is the hard part, especially if you use an existing content management system, or maybe you need to plug in your inventory and there's like data problems with it, whatever. So that part of getting stuff into, the new modern data model is sometimes one of the main barriers of why people can't access Gatsby and similar technologies. Also, its intention is to correct and identify data on entry. Because after the fact, after data is ingested, it's hard to change sometimes. So what if we could fix it as it comes in? And the other intention is reducing code fixes when your data changes. So if you were to swap out your CMS or change in your data model, why change your code? So example of using it to fix car buying is probably a good way to explain how it works. Now, we partnered with one of the largest auto groups in the US, Koons, to recreate what it means to buy a car and to make it more intentional and more accessible. And we started with auto in this example because it can be quite painful. Watching my younger brother, who's autistic, try and navigate a car website just proved to me how frustrating it can be. And so knew we had to fix that first. Also, the car buying experience, especially with dealer websites, it can be painful. Only 2% pass core vitals, 2% pass WCAG accessibility guidelines. And when you look at the visitor paths, only 15% stay for more than one page. And 86% of people who go to an auto dealer website have done their research elsewhere, mainly because it's so painful to navigate a dealer website sometimes. And some of it is just accidental. There's all these third-party scripts that don't really talk to each other, and it creates bloat and confusion for the user. So here's the effect of EXO when trying to deal with speed. So this is an existing homepage. Here's the homepage before. You can see about this is on a fiber connection. You can see a load time of 2 seconds. Take all these numbers times 10 if you're trying to look at it with a 3G connection. And after EXO, you can see a huge difference in the amount of requests made and just when things are loaded, a quarter of a second for some pieces to be fully rendered. From low 20 core vital scores to 100. And, it wasn't easy. We had to look at over 200 libraries, and about 20 made the cut. And we're not done yet, of course. There's more that we'll want to test and work through, but just, a good way to do filters, a good way to do searching, an efficient way to clean the data or detect swipe movement, things like that. Even photo galleries, so many of them add a lot of bloat to a site. So what would have been a fast experience becomes really slow once you add all these different libraries. But we knew it had to be more than just fast. It wasn't good enough. Why? Well, when you look at the UX experience in auto, this is a real site. And there's a whole lot of reasons why stuff like this happens. Don't want to get into all of it, but this is a real example, right? So you could even make this site fast, but does it actually solve a problem? No. Visually, this is very frustrating, even if you put an accessibility button like they've done here. Here's another one. This is an actual vehicle page. What's the call to action? Now, a lot of people to blame as to how this got here. And then you have, on top of that, banks who will say, put my button in, too. And then you end up with this. So for a consumer, is this showing empathy? What about someone who's anxious? Car buying on its own is anxious for people. So do you think this helps? Oh, but they got an accessibility button. Here's another one. I just clicked on get a trade-in value, and this is what happened within a few seconds. Are you anxious yet? Don't worry, they got an accessibility button. So solving this had to be more than just fixing the speed. Now, thousands of dealers have experiences just like the above, and many credit unions do as well. They're not made for phones. They're not made for people who have anxiety. And if someone is dealing with money or dealing with a car, right, they're about to take out a loan, that is an anxious experience. That is an overwhelming experience. Just the fact that they're going to make this commitment is something that will create anxiety in people. Even people who are not dealing with a disability. They'll have a temporary one, disability in that moment, right? Because it's such an overwhelming experience on its own. Just the fact that they have to make these commitments. And so that's why building things for those with disabilities is going to help conversions and help create a better flow for everyone. So how does it work with EXO? Well, you connect your data sources, like your inventory, products, CMS, or CRM, and that can be used to generate pages. There's a configuration step, which we do as a white glove service initially for folks that are going to use the theme. But there's an intention of having a panel for it. You connect your sources, you configure the identity service behind it, handle migrations, and then also which enrichment needs to happen to your data. And then there's the theme. The theme is filled with front-end components and made to be enterprise grade, but you don't have to use them, right? You can override the components that are built in. The ones that are built in are your core elements like filtering and searching and event tracking and things that probably you'll want to use. To get started with it, it's pretty simple. Just go to exo.new and fill in some basic information about your use case. From that, you get a personalized API and a repo that's tuned for your use case. And we generally do Slack-based support. And so you can find us there or throughout the community. But we're eager to put this out there and make something that we've spent quite a bit of time and energy building into the open source community. And primarily so we can make more accessible experiences for everyone, right? If it's just us building a couple, sites here and there, it's not going to really change much. But if we can make it easier for people to access, the way to do this, we're going to change lives for the better. And so hopefully out of this, this helps you appreciate a bit about redefining accessibility, right? It's not just for those who have a screen reader or even have a diagnosis. Thinking about accessibility and optimizing for it and making things that are fast and easy to use benefits everybody. So thank you for joining me on this quick topic of how we intend to fix it together.
Don't miss the live Q&A coming up now.
Hello, welcome back. We have with us right now someone who you just heard from, Kevin Gervais, founder and CTO of Touchless Inc. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, glad to be here.
Nice.
That was fun.
Yeah, we're super happy to have you here. Have you been enjoying GatsbyConf?
Yeah, it's I've got so many things to try. So now you've made my evening busy, but yeah, super exciting.
Sorry about that, maybe. We do love to hear that. But yeah, we've been sitting on all of these things that we're going to talk about today. So we're just excited to now share them with you. Loved your talk, by the way. Let's get straight to the point of why we're here. I want to ask you some questions about it. And
Sure.
but I just want to say again, love the topic, accessibility. It's so important. I said earlier, I said it's on everyone's mind, top of mind, but it's not necessarily, but it really should be. So I think you did a great job of helping people to understand why, but also like the how of things. So I'm gonna ask some questions about what you just talked about. So diving in now, is there a live example of something that uses the EXO theme?
Yeah, you can see here's like just two examples. One I posted in the chat, and you can see it also on exo.new. There's a button to see how one of our partners has taken the theme and been able to tune it for auto.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, you'll it's best that you go through that link. So exo.new, click the link, and then it will override, and so you can see the site because it's not live for the public until later this evening. And then
Just the
another
GatsbyConf community.
exact just for you. This
Just
is
for
just
us.
for you.
Tight circle. Yeah.
Normally we send like a couple percentage points of traffic to it just to test stuff, but now you're part of that. And if you buy a car too, it'll make our numbers look better. No, um, but no, you can see that there. And another one you can see, which was one of our earlier examples of this, is wavedirect.net.
Hmm.
WAVEDIRECT.net,
Hmm.
where we were able to use it, the same principles to get top positions in 170 keywords. So, um, just some cool examples of what like clean design
Yeah.
and picking the right components can do.
No, that's great. And you always want to show versus tell, right? Like, so that's great that people can go and see exactly what you were talking about there. So let's assume people are going to go see it. They're going to love it. How do we get this theme? Can we?
Yeah, you can. So the way we're doing it right now is we want to keep it exclusive to this community, right? Instead of just like making it open for everybody. So you just go to exo.new, and there's two options. You can contact us through Discord, through a
Mhm.
direct message, or you can join our Slack, where we have our devs and folks available to kind of coach and work through it. And then we provide a repo and then a custom some tokens that you can use with that repo that are tuned for your use case. So we find it's better to, I think, just our experience working with Gatsby is sometimes it takes a conversation to kind of figure out what's the best way to do certain
Mhm.
things because there's a bunch of ways to do stuff and they all
Right.
work.
Just get on the same
Um,
page. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, we invite people to contact us directly. You will not be talking to a bot. It'll be us directly. We're very interested in, and it doesn't really matter what the use case. I mean, our experience is obviously enterprise and like banking and telecom and
But
auto,
you're open
but
to anything.
could be anything. So we're open, we're eager.
Nice. Well, I'm glad I got to ask that question because we actually are out of time right now, but now people they know how to contact you. They know what they can do when they contact you, and
Yeah.
that most importantly, they're going to be talking to real live humans instead of
Yes.
robots. So, yay. Um, Thank you again for being part of GatsbyConf. Thank you for being here. It's been awesome working with you and leading up to this, we've been working together up to GatsbyConf. So thank you so much. I know I'm going to see you around, and from the whole Gatsby team, thank you, and I'll catch you
Thank
later.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see you around.
yeah.
See you.
All right. So the next thing coming up is actually the day one. We've actually made it to the day one wrap up, and that means another raffle giveaway. So I will see you shortly on the main stage. Join me and JD. Find out if you won something from the Gatsby Comp raffle giveaway. See you soon. Bye.